Welcome to today's episode of Bible study here at Spiritual Awakening. We are continuing our journey through the New Testament. Today we'll be reflecting on Matthew 2, a passage filled with profound meaning about God's protection, the recognition of Jesus as King, and the early life of the Holy Family. In this episode, we'll explore the story of the wise men's journey and how God guided them, the threat of King Herod, and the Holy Family's escape to Egypt. Let's begin by summarizing the key events in Matthew 2. The chapter opens with the visit of the wise men from the east. Following a divine sign, a star, they journey to worship the newborn King of the Jews. When they find Jesus, they offer gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, recognizing his divine kingship not only for Israel, but for the whole world. However, their visit unsettles King Herod, who, gripped by fear and jealousy, orders a horrific massacre of all male infants under 2 years old in Bethlehem. To protect Jesus, God sends a message to Joseph in a dream, telling him to take Mary and the child and flee to Egypt. There they find refuge until Herod's death. But even after Herod is gone, the danger is not fully over. Once again, God warns Joseph in a dream not to return to Judea, and the family instead moves to a quiet village called Nazareth in Galilee. Now, this final move may seem like just a change of address, but it's deeply meaningful. Nazareth was an obscure, even despised town. In fact, people used to say, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" John 1:46. And yet, this is where Jesus would grow up. It fulfills what the prophets hinted at, that the Messiah would be humble, misunderstood, and come from unlikely places. Nazareth becomes a symbol of God's surprising grace, choosing what is lowly to bring forth glory. The wise men and their journey. What does it mean for us today? The wise men's journey from the east is one of devotion, sacrifice, and divine guidance. Despite the long and dangerous journey, they remained committed to finding the newborn king. When they find Jesus, they worship him and offer gifts that signify his royal and divine nature. This act of worship by the wise men shows us that Jesus is the King of Kings, worthy of all honor and praise, even from people outside of Israel. How often do we seek Jesus with the same commitment and devotion? The wise men followed the star without knowing the exact destination or what would happen when they arrived. In our spiritual lives, we too are called to follow God's guidance, even when the path is unclear. The question is, are we willing to follow where God leads, even if it requires sacrifices or stepping out of our comfort zones? King Herod's response. What can we learn from his fear? Herod's reaction to the news of a new king is one of fear and jealousy. In his attempt to protect his throne, he orders the massacre of all male children under 2 years old in Bethlehem. This tragic event, known as the Massacre of the Innocents, reveals the destructive power of fear and pride. Herod was willing to sacrifice innocent lives to hold on to his power, but in doing so, he missed the greatest gift of all, the Savior of the world. Herod's story serves as a warning to us. When we let fear or pride control our actions, we can make decisions that hurt others and ourselves. Jesus, on the other hand, offers peace, hope, and salvation. In moments of fear or insecurity, we can choose to trust in God's plan, knowing that He is in control, even when things seem chaotic or uncertain. The escape to Egypt, God's protection in times of danger. After the angel warns Joseph in a dream, he immediately takes Mary and Jesus and flees to Egypt. This act of obedience demonstrates Joseph's trust in God's protection. Even when faced with the threat of Herod's wrath, God guided the Holy Family to safety. The escape to Egypt serves as a powerful reminder that God is always watching over us, even in times of danger or uncertainty. How often do we forget to trust in God's protection? When we face challenges or dangers in life, we can find comfort in knowing that God is with us. Just as He protected the Holy Family, He will protect us as we walk in faith. This passage encourages us to trust in God's guidance and His provision, no matter what circumstances we find ourselves in. So what does this mean for us today? As we reflect on Matthew 2, we see how themes of faith, obedience, protection, and divine guidance are woven throughout the story. The wise men teach us to seek Jesus with wholehearted devotion, recognizing Him as our true King. Herod's fear and pride serve as a cautionary tale, reminding us how destructive it can be when we try to control what only God can govern. And the Holy Family's escape to Egypt shows that, even in the darkest of times, God sees us, watches over us, and leads us to safety. But the story doesn't just end with their return. It continues in Nazareth, a small, overlooked town that becomes the very place where Jesus grows up. And that's no accident. God could have chosen Jerusalem or any city of prestige, but He chose Nazareth, a place of humility, a place that reflects how God often works, not through worldly power, but through quiet, hidden grace. In our own lives, we are called to follow the light of Christ, just as the wise men did. Even when the road is uncertain, His guidance leads us through. And just as He protected the Holy Family, He will shelter and shape us, sometimes in the Nazareths of our lives, quiet places where His grace is preparing us for something far greater. Thank you for joining us today on this journey through Matthew 2. We hope that this passage has encouraged you to deepen your faith and trust in God's plan for your life. Be sure to join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for our Old Testament Bible study series, where we dive deep into the stories of faith, history, and God's promises. And don't miss our New Testament series on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we explore the life and teachings of Jesus. We're just getting started, and I'm excited to continue this journey with you. Take care, and may you experience the peace and presence of God this week. I'll see you in the next episode. May God bless you all.